These are the factors responsible for poverty, for lack, for want, in spite of the fact that the Bible says that the Lord is our shepherd, and as such we should not be in want. The first reason I gave you, and I'm repeating it now, is ignorance or incomplete knowledge of God's financial system. You want to put that down very quickly. The first reason why believers are incapacitated and limited economically, in spite of God's economic program for the excelling of the saints, is that they are ignorant of God's financial system, or they have incomplete knowledge. So the first reason is ignorance or incomplete knowledge of God's financial system. Very quickly, let me give you number two. The second reason why many believers are in poverty, they are in lack and want, is the absence of value that is needed and useful. Please write that down. That's a very, very important point to note. The absence of value that is needed and useful. We live in a world where your value is what gives you a space. If you do not have value that is needed and useful, you will most likely remain in lack and want. Are you ready for number three? The third reason I gave you, and I'm repeating it now for your hearing and learning, is lack of productivity and excellence. This is the third reason why many believers are kept perpetually in poverty, lack and want. Lack of productivity. What is productivity? Converting your value to products and services, serving them with excellence to a targeted consumer base. This is what we call productivity. Just because you have discovered your value does not make it rewardable. It is at the point of that conversion that your value becomes rewardable. Are we together? I'm running through the list. So number one, I said ignorance or incomplete knowledge of God's financial system. Number two, the absence of value that is needed and useful. Number three, lack of productivity and excellence. Can I give you number four? And I'm going to dwell a bit on that tonight as we delve into this very serious prophetic subject, the absence of strategic relationships. The absence of strategic relationships. The fourth reason why believers are kept in lack and want, in poverty and penury, is that they lack strategic relationships. I remember when we discussed this subject, we considered John chapter 5 and verse 7. The man at Bethesda said, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool. That was his problem. He knew where the solution was, but the man to help and assist him was not there. Number five, the fifth reason why believers end up in lack, want, poverty is the bankruptcy of spiritual empowerment, or the absence or the lack of spiritual empowerment. There is an empowerment component to wealth and abundance in all its ramifications. And perhaps I should go ahead of myself to tell you that when we talk about abundance, we are not limiting it to finance alone. I hope you know that by now. That when we talk about abundance, abundance deals with supplies and sufficiency, not just finances alone. In the kingdom, when we discuss the subject of abundance, we're not limiting it to just finance. Finance is an important component, but there are many people who have finance, but they do not have abundance. Abundance captures finance, but it also captures everything that makes for your sufficiency. Bankruptcy of spiritual empowerment is the fifth reason why believers end up poor. They do not know that when it has to do with the business of accessing finance as a Christian in a bedeviled world, in an antichrist system, you will need an empowerment from heaven. Are we together now? There is such a thing as the power to get wealth. There is such a thing as the power to prosper. Number six, we identified the sixth reason why believers, all men really, but believers remain in lack, in want and poverty as impatience. The sixth reason is impatience. Impatience. The Bible says, he that is hasty to be wealthy will not be innocent. God is a God of speed. God brings acceleration. In fact, that is the thrust of our discussion tonight. God can bring men into accelerated blessings, but God does not rush people arbitrarily. The passion to want to make it instantaneously is what robs men of following due spiritual process. And the Bible says if you follow such a path, you will not be innocent. Can I give you the seventh and final reason? Laziness. Laziness. What is laziness? The laxity to think, the laxity to take action, that inertia, that refusal to engage your mind, to engage your energy productively is called laziness. You would be surprised how many believers are lazy all-wise. They are lazy spiritually. They are lazy in terms of engaging their minds. They are lazy in terms of submitting themselves to the discipline of learning, the discipline of putting knowledge to action. And so many of them become poor. Allow me to do a final rundown on the list. Number one, ignorance of God's financial system. Number two, the absence of value that is needed and useful. Number three, lack of productivity and excellence. Number four, the absence of strategic relationships. Number five, the bankruptcy of spiritual empowerment. Six, impatience. Final reason, seven, laziness. May you be delivered from all this.